So very good evening to one and all, to respected members of the jury, to the esteemed CISO community, and all the wonderful people of Delhi and also the other states. So we are here as Prophaze Web Application Firewall and the new innovations that we're bringing onto the web application firewall industry. And let me introduce myself. I am Lakshmi Das, co-founder and product evangelist at Prophaze. So let's have a just sneak peek of what is the innovation that we are actually bringing onto picture. So according to Google API Security Report, it has been reported that 50% of all the organizations have actually experienced a security breach in the last 12 months. And more than 62% of all the decision makers have supported that, even they have faced this kind of a breach. And what is the reason? The rate at which APIs are being developed exceeds the rate at which security researchers can actually ensure the security of these APIs. So this is it's a major concern. Another issue is the security of third-party APIs which are actually communicating with your applications. Have you even wondered about how the security can be tackled? Because we have all taken care, all kinds of security measures and layers have all come on top of your applications and your APIs. But what if the third-party APIs that are actually communicating with your applications, they get breached or they are compromised? How will you deal with it? So this has not been addressed by any of the vendors out there, and that is where Prophaze Web Application Firewall is actually bringing on its innovation. And it all started when we were addressing a security challenge of a customer who was actually running an application on a microservice-based platform. So while Googling for a solution, we found that there was no other vendor, even the international vendors, they were not addressing this. That is when we actually tried our hands on it, and we came out with this wonderful product. And less did we know that this would be a disruption into the market until and unless we were actually approached by the big billion-dollar companies for an acquisition or a partnership. So that was something that really made us proud. So, and another thing or a security issue that is actually addressed in the market is that container adoption is booming, and Gartner has actually predicted that more than 75% of the applications would be actually shifting to containerization. So who is actually going to look into this specific area of container security? Are all the application vendors or the security vendors going to take care of this? Never. And this is a global, or it has a total addressable market of 25+ billion in the next 10+ years. And Prophaze is an early entrant. And we all know that now development is shifting to the DevOps or the DevSecOps perspective. And security has also to be shifted into all these layers of secure software development lifecycle. And this is where Prophaze, being an innovative solution, will be able to communicate with all the layers of the secure software development lifecycle. Now let's have a look into how this has been actually handled in the current scenario. So we can actually separate the evolution of WAF into 3 different sectors, which is WAF 1.2, the very old WAFs which we are all familiar with, and we have WAF 2.0, which is all the WAFs that are existing in the market right now, which is more like a web application and API protection platform, which the Gartner coined as WAF. And this actually runs on 4 pillars, which is actually WAF, API, bot mitigation, and a DDoS mitigation solution. But all this will not be able to address the security scenario which is going to come in the next 25 years. So that is where WAF 3.0 is actually coming into picture, where you have to address the issues of microservice-based applications, and also it has to address advanced API security challenges. And this is where Prophaze is actually protecting against the business logic attacks, and also advanced bot and the DDoS protection. And also we support on the edge. So that is something disruptive that we are doing. So this is what we are, not just a WAF, a total solution of WAF, AI firewall, and bot and DDoS solution. So this is our innovation. So we're the first platform on the Kubernetes, and we integrate easily with the CI/CD pipeline, and also we have reduced the false positives less than 5%. And this is their analyst we got. Prophaze is the first Indian company to be listed as innovation leaders with $1 billion businesses like Cloudflare, Radware, Imperva, and F5. And these are our premium customers, GMR, TCI, and Renesas. So thank you all, and thanks for your patient listening. So let's all WAF together with Prophaze.
Jury questions. Jury, open to questions now. Can we have the jury?
Yeah, so I have one question here. You have covered to a great extent about the what aspect of it, right? What is the concept, etc. And broadly, what exactly you do. But the how aspect, maybe I would have expected one slide, for just 1.5 minutes, focusing on how exactly you do that. Because it's a different world, we all understand, right? So how exactly your USP is, right, or the differentiation in comparison to WAF 1.0 or WAF 2.0. That is something I'm not clear.
Yeah, so we, can you hear me? I'm audible, right? Hello? Yeah. Yeah, so typically, what we do is, we, on the Kubernetes platform, let's me talk about Kubernetes, right? So on the Kubernetes platform, so we install as an ingress controller. So we sit as an native microservices inside a Kubernetes platform and conventional to the appliances based or the cloud WAF kind of a technology. So we are more into the edge rather than on the perimeter, right? Yeah.
Is it something like a defender pod?
It's not a defender pod. It's a native. It's not a sidecar or something. It's a direct controller itself.
So it's inline.
Inline, correct. Yeah.
Talk to us about your revenue model and your existing customers.
Yeah. So ours is yearly upfront, basically. But sometimes we get 3-year and 5-year contracts. But 90% of our yearly upfront. And our featured customers are shown like GMR. The entire GMR is running through Prophaze right now. The TCI group is running through us. In the south, we have Ramco Siemens. And of course, we have around 30 customers right now.
And also we are
What is your revenue
with the governments?
Our current revenue is 3 CR right now. This year we are running on 3 CR.
Talk to us a little about your competition.
Of course, the competition is always, you can think about, there are two companies, Akamai and Cloudflare. Those people are conventional, kind of CDN providers now telling us security vendors, but of course comes from them. And of course, there's a very good company called Imperva, Israeli company, that's a big competition to us. But the thing is that those architectures are kind of 10-year-old architecture because they've been there for a while. And since we came late and entirely on the microservice Kubernetes platform, we are disrupting them. So even, I'm not naming them, among these companies, few of them are research for acquisition, but we are on for a game, to see how it goes, to become an Indian company to rule in that area, right? Compared with the US and Israeli companies.
So your revenue model is on an outright purchase kind of thing, or it's a hiring kind of a model? What kind of model you are
Annual
offering?
subscription.
Annual upfront subscription, yeah.
And it's an appliance or it's a software?
It's so we have typically our flagship product is Kubernetes WAF, right? So when we went in the market, we understood that the customers are having conventional API services and all things. So we have a backward compatibility also. So we support the existing current infrastructure of the customers and also the hybrid model of this thing, right? So typically I lost track of your question. So what you specifically asked?
I asked how is your model going to work on the scenario like?
Yeah,
appliance based?
Appliance. Everything is there, So typically the Kubernetes is an inline existing cluster we installed, and those customers who are having the conventional services, if banks and healthcare need on-premise, so we go for on-prem, and for the other providers, we go for the cloud WAF model. So
we can deploy it in whichever cloud the application is.
And everything can be on the same single platform they can control. That's one of the unique.
So we have on-premise and both cloud model and also Kubernetes.
And you have offered the DDoS also as a part of your solution.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's our, if you look at this thing, the DDoS protection, the board protection, so the CD and all these things come to a single package, right? So we are not going into other email security or whatever, but along the lines of the web security. So we are adding more and more features on the roadmap.
So it's only a solution that is sitting in front, or you have agents also installed on the individual hosts?
Typically, in this context, in the Kubernetes customers, for the Kubernetes customer, it's kind of deploying inside their cluster. So you can say it's an agent, but it's not an agent. It's an inline communication as we discussed.
No, my question was related to like if there is an API that is used between two hosts in the same data center, would your device offer any protection?
Yeah, so basically, for the on-prem scenario, they have to change, I mean, the traffic is coming directly to the application server, right? So instead they have to point it to the Prophaze server on the appliance and it has to go inside. Yeah, so that's all.
So what is your GTM? Are you already having any partners or
Yeah.
how is it?
Correct. So there are three modes. One is the going with the distributor channel partner model. That worked for us. Being a cybersecurity startup, going to banks or whoever thinks that how are you sure that you exist for the next 5 years, right? So of course we found the distributors and channel partners was easy to convince because they are convinced by the customers. So that was the primary model which worked for us. The second thing is that connecting with MSSPs and MSPs, the cloud service providers, and third is the incoming leads coming through the internet. So the content marketing.
Incoming leads basically come from the international countries like US, Australia and Africa. So basically in India and UAE, we work with distributors and partners.
You already have customers in US?
Yes.
Our first customer was from US because they were looking for a Kubernetes based.
So they Googled for Kubernetes WAF and they landed on the website and we closed it for $10,000.
Okay.
Just give a quick details about your organization profile per se, the promoters, leadership, experience.
So both of us, we are the co-founders. So I started my career with Infosys into the banking product. So Vishak is actually, he was doing freelancing with international customers on cybersecurity. He was part of an ethical hacking community called RuxCon. It's a Australia community. So that is how we got passionate about cybersecurity. And the entire team is 20 members. And we have business operations happening from Delhi. And
You're based out of Delhi?
we have business team and office working from Delhi and the founders are from Kerala. So it's like a marriage of both south and north and we are taking the product globally.
You have any sectorial focus for GTM or you're going after everything?
We can see that the fintech and the healthcare, those kind of companies are more. Can you hear me? Hello?
So we have more more people are approaching us from the manufacturing sector and the fintech sector and also e-commerce. And we've also seen that we have, from the power industry like Renew Power, Torrent Power and all of that. We are also working with the government. So we're working with the Kerala e-health government also. So it's more, sector agnostic and more people are from the fintech and the BFSI sector.
Okay, thank you, jury, and thank you, guys. Congratulations.
Thank you all.
Can we have the voting open, please? Voting lines, 1 lowest, 5 highest. Audience, get your fingers going.